and welcome to Reading Reddit. This story is okay. I haven't even seen any of the comments, but this is crazy. This is about a neighborhood HOA dissolves, but years later, the former members are still harassing the homeowners. In today's story is, am I the asshole for not following HOA rules after HOA is dissolved? This one is a bit of a weird situation. My family moved into a neighborhood when I was 7 years old. It was an HOA neighborhood at the time. In 2010, the neighborhood got together and found out that fully 90% of the owners had no interest in the HOA. They only maintained a small strip of land at the front of the neighborhood, had allowed the community center, basically a 300 square foot pavilion built in the early 90s, to fall over and become a hazard. I'm not completely sure about the process the neighborhood went through, but the HOA was dissolved at the end of 2010 and individual volunteers took over the maintenance of the two areas. Fast forward to 2018. I was moving back into the area to take care of my mother and found a house for sale in the neighborhood. The price was good, so I bought it. Nothing mentioned about covenants or regulations or anything. One of my hobbies is vehicles. I collect, refurbish, and modify classic and imported vehicles. One of the reasons I bought the house was for the four cars worth of garage space. My surviving grandparent passed away the same year, and I ended up with 1.5 garages worth of family heirlooms and the like stored at my place. This meant 3 cars ended up in the driveway. Driveway is large and at least 4 cars across and about 8 to 10 long, with most of that space between my house and the detached garage. I have 7 vehicles in the driveway. Within a month, I started receiving notices from the county about that there were complaints about my property. Nothing actionable in my county. The vehicles are in good repair, running, and registered. I'm just having to deal with the county inspector coming out every month and looking over the vehicles and whatever else people want to nitpick about my property. The inspector told me straight up that it's the former HOA members and that the old covenant said there could only be 1 vehicle in the driveway. Am I the asshole for starting harassment proceedings against everyone complaining? So this is the reason that I don't like HOAs is because HOAs are usually filled with just people who are on power trips and want to be important. HOAs originally they were supposed to keep black and Asians and Jewish people out of properties because they didn't want upwardly mobile non-whites to be in those areas. So they had an HOA, and the HOAs would, of course, the busybodies would end up going and what is it? They would go around and they would pretty much just make people's lives terrible because they didn't want them there. So here are 3 comments that we have. The first one is, not the asshole. If you don't nip it in the bud, they will continue to escalate. They will just continue and escalate until the county inspectors find something actionable, whether they want to or not. The HOA is gone. The property is yours. The county certainly has more important things to worry about, and the best way to reinforce those points is through the courts. Our second comment says, not the asshole, but the fact that their complaints are received and actioned, they probably feel like they are in some way still right. The harassment case should clarify that for them. And our last comment is, not the asshole. You aren't violating any laws or ordinances. If you had broken down vehicles sitting on your lawn, I could understand their concern, but otherwise they don't have a leg to stand on. Time to give them a taste of their own medicine. All right, with that, we're going to move to story number 2. Neighbor kept reporting me to the HOA for petty things. Opportunity knocked to pay her back, and I took it. I found out today that my revenge was complete, so I came here to share it. My neighbor who we should all call Christy, would report us to our HOA for everything she didn't like. Trash can still on the street at 5 p.m. on trash day, reported. Kids bike outside while kids were playing, reported. Didn't mow this weekend, typically I do this Monday nights, reported Monday morning. Dogs barking at 2 in the afternoon and she and her dog walked on the path behind our house, reported. In many cases, there were not issues covered by the HOA, but due to repeated reporting, the board did fine us, and I had to go I had to go spend the evening waiting through a 2 hour meeting to have them removed. This kept happening and was driving me nuts. Both my wife and I spoke to her and tried to find out why she thought this was okay, and she would tell us, "You just need to do a better job of being a good neighbor." Hmm. Fast forward to early this summer. She posts on a neighborhood website sharing a video about the anti-vax movement. The general In general, the replies are pretty aggressive about telling her she's full of it, but she keeps pushing back, leading to super long posts about how we were all in the wrong and we should listen because she is a doctor. She signs it Dr. Christie, last name, naturopathic physician. I think I heard this one before. At this point, I am mostly wondering what the heck kind of doctor would be against vaccines. This made no sense, so I started digging. I did find that Christie was listed as a doctor on sites where you could find physicians. I dug more into what a naturopathic physician was and found that in my state of Colorado, they are regulated and required to maintain a license to practice. I checked into it and found out the following. Christie was not in the state database as a naturopathic physician. Two, the board regulates it, has an online reporting tool. At this point, I took all the information I had, grabbed screenshots, and checked my timeline and reported her as claiming to be a naturopathic physician when she was not. I then followed that up with a post on the neighborhood website. This is a hot button topic for me, and because of that and Christie signing her post as Dr. Last Name, I had to dig some. I, for one, am a huge fan of including whole person treatment. I think doctors of osteopathic medicine are wonderful, and they work to integrate whole health into the picture with well-researched best practices. Natu- Naturopathy less so, which is the problem here. One researched article here, and they share it, breaks down a lot of the issues quite well. It is almost 13 years old, but has still quite good at explaining the valid concerns. I further checked, as Colorado does regulate naturopathy, and I could not find a Christie last name anywhere. My thought is that it is entirely possible that she holds a license to practice in Colorado and my search wasn't working. But even just searching her first name or zip code or my town or a town near us provides no result of a Christie last name. There are two naturopathic doctors in town near us. I used these two searches. At that point, Christie locked the post and later deleted the whole thing. I was pretty dang happy that she removed the post, but today it got better. In the mail, I received a copy of a cease and desist letter that Christie received from the state about a month ago. It told her that she must cease and desist her practice immediately. TLDR, neighbor reported me to the HOA for petty things, claimed to be a naturopathic physician, reported to the state board, neighbor's practice is in shutdown. F around and find out. Alright, so let's go to our first comment. What even is a naturopathic physician? Sounds like that Simpson episode that mocks the trial against evolution, something along the lines of Scopes v. Tennessee, where someone stepped in for the Christian side as truthologist. Impersonating a doctor is a majorly unethical and is a crime. Who knows how many parents she misinformed and how many lives are at risk. Extra pro revenge tip. Find all of your neighbors she's pissed off and collect their proxy votes, then use them to change the HOA's bylaws or dissolve the HOA. I love that. Someone else said I got fined by my HOA for having a dirty roof while the roof was being replaced. My parents got a similar fine from their HOA. The roof was dirty, but because my parents live right at the entrance of their portion of the neighborhood, they were also the only people fined for it. Some fucker at the back of the neighborhood parks cars on their lawns and various other infractions, gets no fines, but if my parents have their trash cans visible at the side of the house, they get warnings and fines. They don't have enough room in the garage for the cans once both cars are in it. Another one says, do HOAs. Let me live my life and do my thing. I hate people telling me when to mow my lawn or what window treatments I can or cannot have. That. I bought the house, it's my house, and I'll do as I please. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of HOAs. I will never live in a HOA. HOAs suck ass. HOAs are just bad altogether. So that's where I'm at. All right. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'll see you soon.